Hello. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the Reports UI and step you through some tips and tricks that hopefully make your experience a little more delightful in the product and help you get better insights out of ObservePoint. So I'm going to just dive right in. We have in the top left corner the report section of the UI. That's how you're going to get to this reports homepage and where we'll spend our time today. So tip number one is to take advantage of our templates. If you're new to the reports, this is a great way to get started faster. In the top right corner, you can expand a gallery of templates. At the top are the featured reports, but there are many more featured templates that you can take advantage of. You could find, for example, pages not scanned in the last 30 days. You can drill in to find those insights. You can choose cookie details if you're trying to create a cookie inventory report for an audience. But this just helps you get insights a little bit quicker. And then you're welcome to customize, personalize, add or remove information later on. So let's say if I wanted to, remove a couple of these columns, I can remove columns and then I can save these changes and save a whole new report. But I can start from this template at any point in time. So that's tip number one, is take advantage of templates. Tip number two is to take advantage of quick filtering and searching for different columns. I'll demonstrate what that looks like. So let's say I wanted to filter my report by just audits that were run from an Oregon location. Instead of going through the filters here, which is an option, I could search for a location. I could save a few steps by just looking at the location column if it's currently in view, selecting the three-dot menu item, and then selecting filter by this column. In that case, this would filter to Germany. So I'm actually going to select the cell that I want to filter by, USA, Oregon. And just like that, the filter is applied. And I can always edit that filter later and I can modify it if needed. That's a nice little shortcut. You can also apply this for picking data from the columns. Not necessarily filtering by a specific value, but you can apply the searching aspect that I showed you a second ago. So I can actually search for a word like unapproved, and it will pull up all of these metrics. And then I don't have to worry about combing through a large list of metrics. I can just get the metrics I want added, and then I can always remove that search term or filter term to get the full list of columns and tags. It can be just a little overwhelming having to go through every single one of these. If you're already familiar with the information you're looking for, then searching is usually your best bet. So that's another tip. Okay, tip number three is compact versus comfortable. So in the settings icon up here, you can actually switch between compact and comfortable. It should default, I believe, to compact. But if you're presenting to an audience and or you're trying to take screenshots of information and you have real estate, you have room, and there's not many rows of data, like in this case, I have 7 rows of data, it might be nice to expand it to comfortable so that it's just a little easier in the eyes for people that are reading it. Just an option I want to call out there for those who have that preference. Tip number 4 is adding and removing columns in groups. So there's a couple ways we can approach this. One is you can actually go to the column picker here and you can select not just the different columns under audit score, but you can select the entire category, which will add all of those. This can be really convenient when you're trying to get a sense for what the data is going to show you. If you're not familiar with the values that may be displayed here, you can quickly expand all of these different sections, and you can find out what data is being collected, and then you can narrow it down later on. You can also remove them in groups, which is can be convenient if you're trying to add or remove columns quickly. So another tip for adding or removing columns in groups is to take advantage of the ability to edit columns within the table itself. So if you select the column location, for example, let's say I wanted to exclude all the columns to the right or to the left or all except for this column, that is an option. So in this case, I'll remove all columns to the right. That cleans up nicely. Let's say I just wanted the audit name. I could remove all other columns and I'll get the audit name. So pretty convenient for cleaning things up. And again, I could always add back columns later really fast. So I wanted to call that out to speed things up for you in case you weren't familiar. Now, let's say you had a lot of columns here. And tip number 5 is pinning columns. So if I have lots of columns here, it's starting to become a lot of data, but I want to keep the audit name always in frame. I'm going to, just like in many spreadsheet tools, I'm going to freeze or pin the column, in this case to the left, so that when I scroll across, you can see audit name is fixed. So that's a convenient thing. Now, you might be asking the question, can I pin multiple? And the answer is yes, you can pin multiple or freeze multiple columns. Okay. The last tip for this video, we'll have a part 2 coming up soon, which you'll want to watch. But the last tip for this video is auto sizing of columns. So when you have lots of columns of information, you might want to adjust them, customize them, get them to a good spot. And sometimes there's just additional real estate that's taken up that you don't really want taken up. And so, or sometimes you need to expand and like provide more real estate for a particular column. So you can auto size a particular column. And that in this case would make it a little more compact, get rid of some of the extra space, or you can auto size all columns, which may make the label a little bit easier to see and can be convenient if you're trying to just tidy up the report. So, and again, you can always adjust the column widths and sizes and save them, and those widths will be saved, like they'll be remembered. So you can really play around with it and get very custom. So that's it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful, and look forward to part 2.